Welcome back to the Knit Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to talk about circular knitting needles. Are they equal? Yes or no? And let's talk about things that I never considered and a mistake that I made right off from my starting purchase. So one of the rookie mistakes that I did right off the hop is that I bought these Knitter Pride knitting needles. There's nothing wrong with these things, but there's something about them that is different than what I expected. So originally when I thought of circular knitting needles, I thought it was going in a circle because that's what I kind of hear. So what I didn't realize is that what happens is that you're knitting with both and you're sliding down the stitches. The cord is actually like the holding spot of knitting. So you're actually working back and forth, but this cord allows you to have a distance in between the knitting needles without having extra long knitting needles like this. So for example on an Afghan that I saw, it said that you needed a 36-inch circular knitting needle. So I'm thinking, wow, that's huge, because the one in my hand here is about 12 inches. So I didn't realize that they're referring to the cord that is attached. So last night I started a project and it's recommended that I have a 36-inch cord in between. I thought, well, is that really important? Is it not? And so what I decided to do is I started to try it, and I realized right off the hop that if this cord is too small, then you can't do some of the projects that are suggested in the patterns. Then I came to the conclusion these cords are not all the same. So I went out to shopping today and I picked up some other knitting needles that have a different size cord. So this one here by Knitter's Pride allows me to have a 24-inch distance. So it's 24 inches from one tip to the other. So it goes all the way down and back around and back up for 24 inches. Now the Afghan I was working on last night was a baby blanket, and it suggested that it was 36. So what I realized really quickly, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on a 24, is that I went back shopping and I realized that I have to really pay attention to the cord sizes that are on here. So this one's a 36-inch. So there's more cord here so that the stitches can rest. And what I realized that when I show you my next project is that if there's not enough stitch space here for holding all the stitches, it becomes really awkward. So let me show you my example and I'll give you a demonstration. So here's the baby's blanket that I started last night. It's just a garter stitch back and forth, and I used a 24-inch cord with my knitting needles, and what I realized is that I can get a whole size baby Afghan on these 24. The problem is that once you get so far into it, these stitches really start slamming into each other, and it becomes harder to operate, because what's happening is that even though I'm starting here, I'm having to push this project down this knitting needle here and get it to go, because as I feed it and knit in this direction. So the problem is that this here is kind of cumbersome here because I don't have a lot of play room to move around. So though I can get on this 24, I can get the entire Afghan, it becomes really extremely awkward. So if I just give you a quick demonstration here, let me just wrap the knitting needles, and if I go to demonstrate here, so as I go, you see the project is down here on the cord, so I'm going to be working my way across, and as you do that, the project, it pushes up on this side and then works its way down this one, so everything kind of revolves back around. But what I find with myself is that because the stitches are so compact, because the cord is too small, that these knitting needles can be cumbersome because the projects end up having to work up on it, so I don't have the flexibility like I'm supposed to. So it's just one of those things that you need to consider when buying knitting needles and what size project that is. So most professional patterns, especially by yarnspirations.com, they say circular knitting needles, but they also tell you the size of the cord that you're going to be working with. So this gives you a really good indication on what you're going to be doing. So you see how that's going to work. So it's going to slide down, and this project is going to slide in the other direction. Once I get all the way done, I just turn these around and I go back in the other way. So let me show you a Yarn Inspirations pattern. So here's a free pattern that's available on yarnspirations.com, and in the more information here it says US 19, so that's the US measurement. In us here in Canada, in the UK, in Australia, we would be looking at the metric of 15 millimeter. It says circular knitting needles 36-inch. So that's telling you that the size knitting needles that you need is the 15 millimeter, but the cord from tip, okay, going all the way down, plus the cord to the tip on the other side should be 36 inches. So I just used one that was 24 inches. I can totally agree that they are completely right on that, because 24 was not long enough. I was having a lot of problems. So just have to pay attention to these things. The professional designs have this information so you know what size to start off with, because sometimes it's a bit of a guess. But if you're familiar with knitting and the size of gauging and stuff, maybe you can pick it up on your own. But for me, being a beginner, this stuff is really important. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Knit Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com.